Hello, YouTube. Well, um, I know it's been a while since I posted anything, and some of you guys follow me for my reviews on my vehicles, motorcycles. Some of you guys follow me for reviews on my games and things like that. This is actually a car situation that I actually had. Uh, as many of you know, I bought a 2017 Ford Fusion Sport, and I purchased that, oh gosh, end of June 2017, so end of June. And on July 17th, I was rear ended. I was rear ended by a 22-year-old girl. I was stopped at a stoplight coming home from work, and she rear ended me, probably doing about 20 miles an hour. I'm okay. My car, it's about $1,600 worth of damage. She hit me pretty hard. She was in a 97 Camry or Corolla, something like that. And basically, she came and hit me, and when she hit the brakes, she dove under the back of my car and lifted it up a little bit, so kind of scrubbed my bumper and things like that. I didn't file any type of police report because there's no injury, and I live in California. And if there's no injury, then police coming out, I mean, it was 5:30 in the afternoon, police coming out are very rare. So I exchanged information with her, took pictures of her car, took pictures of her driver's license, and she has State Farm auto insurance, and I have Progressive, and effectively called Progressive to let them know what happened. Luckily, I've been a Progressive member for a very long time. Progressive took pretty good care of me. They effectively filed the claim under collision, which means that my insurance will take care of it. I'll be responsible for my $500 deductible, and then effectively what will end up happening is that they're going to go back to her to get the money back. It's subrogation, something like that. So my car, I take it to Progressive. Progressive takes it to a body shop that I've had a little bit of history with before in the past, also through Progressive on a whole separate claim. The body shop did fine last time, so I didn't think anything of it. I took a couple of days off. I took one day off work, and I had to take a Lyft to and from work, so it was $15, $16 each way. And it was just really inconvenient. The whole process of being hit and all this stuff like that, even though I wasn't at fault, it was just really inconvenient for me. Well, Progressive sent my car over to the auto body shop and got it fixed rather quickly. It took them 3 days to fix it, and they got it back, and I was super excited. And I call Progressive to say, hey, look, what's the status on my deductible? Am I going to have to come up with this $500 to give you guys, take my car? Are you going to get it from State Farm? Progressive told me that they were unable to actually obtain any statement from the girl. So because they weren't able to obtain a statement from her, they couldn't prove that the accident actually happened. It was interesting because they basically told me, if you never answer the phone, if you're at fault in an accident and there's no police report and you don't pick up the phone, you cannot make a statement. Therefore, it's a he said, she said type thing. So I would have to prove that she hit me. The photos of the accident, the photos of all that I took, it wasn't good enough for State Farm. State Farm needed a statement from this girl. Well, the problem with it was State Farm hasn't been able to get anything from this girl. So State Farm effectively told me, hey, look, we can't get this, we will decline the claim. At that point, I absolutely lost it. She hit me. I had pictures of her with my car, and just because there was no claim made or no police report, they couldn't prove that it happened. So, tip of the trade, whenever you get hit, you say that you might have an injury, so that way you can at least get a police report. This way you can prove it was done. I ended up calling State Farm back because I had the girl's cell phone number, and it turns out they were trying to call the girl's mother, and the girl's mother was just avoiding the calls. So they called the girl's mom, or they called the girl, they got the girl on the phone, they called me back like 15 minutes later, hey, yes, 100% at fault, rear ending, no problem, we're going to go ahead and pay it. So I call Progressive and I say, hey, look, I'd already paid for my deductible at that point. And I said, hey, look, can you cut me a check for that? State Farm's going to pay for it, no problem. Great, everything's good to go. So I get my car back, and this is when the debacle starts to happen. The body shop I took it to Dwayne's Auto Body here in Sacramento, and they missed a spot about that big, right on the bumper. Right where the bumper attaches to the rear fender, there was this blob of nothing. The car is pearl white, so you have white with the pearl over it, and it looks like they just missed it. Like they were hitting it with the gun, hitting it with the gun, hitting it, and just missed this big circle. And then they cleared right over it. And I saw it as soon as I walked to the car. Good news is Progressive stepped up. They put me in a rental, and they sent it back to Dwayne's Auto Body to get it fixed, and no problem. Now, this moves on to the second part of my claim, which is diminished value. And that's really what this video is about. I want to tell you something in the insurance industry about a little thing called diminished value. Basically, in a nutshell, diminished value is what your car is worth after it has been in an accident. For instance, if your car is worth, hypothetically speaking, $15,000 pre-accident, somebody hits you, boom, it's not your fault. Later, when you go to sell that car will be worth less because of the accident, okay? Carfax, people aren't just gonna pay for it as much. I mean, think of it, would you buy a car that was in an accident if it's the exact same price as a car that wasn't in an accident, right? So I called State Farm and I talked to a claims person. I wish I wrote down the claims person name, but the claims person wanted to talk to me like diminished value didn't exist, like it wasn't real. And if you Google, if you search things online, you'll see it's plenty real. I mean, there's like court cases where it's went through. And she tried to argue with me like diminished value doesn't exist. After talking with her for a little bit, back and forth, giving her some examples, she agreed. Yes, okay, diminished value does exist, but you need to prove it. Your burden of proof. Awesome. So I went out and I got a independent car buyer, a statement from him, a friend of mine, Mike McCullough, regarding cars that were damaged. He's a wholesale car buyer, and versus cars that aren't damaged, and kind of what they're worth. And basically, everything he was telling me, it's about 10% of Blue Book. Okay, 10% of the value, actual cash value, ACV as they like to call it. The problem is finding out what ACV is a huge issue because actual cash value determines many things. It's how many cars were sold, what areas it's sold in, prior condition of the cars. Actual cash value is very, very hard to determine. So I put a letter in writing and I emailed it to State Farm, including printouts of Kelley Blue Book and basically the statement from this guy telling me that it's about 10%. And then another document as well from a diminished value website that says it's about 9 to 10%. So it's about $3,600. I get a phone call on July 31st, and this is when all this fun stuff begins from State Farm. And I talked with a woman over there, Monique Walker. Now, let me tell you about Monique Walker. As soon as I picked up the phone, I knew that there was going to be a battle. Not pleasant, not nice. She was just rude, you know? And I know what her job is. She's a claim specialist. She's licensed in several states, one of them not being California, where I am. But she says that her license has reciprocity in this state. She's in Missouri, I believe. So, okay. And she basically told me that diminished value doesn't exist. We talked for an hour, 57 minutes on the phone, and we went round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And basically, she kept telling me, you're my customer, but State Farm's policy is we will not pay out any claim without burden of proof. You cannot provide burden of proof for diminished value because it does not exist. This is our policy. Now, it's important that you keep that word, policy. The reason why I say that is because she then told me that I was her customer. Mr. Cook, you are my customer and I want to help you. That's why I'm on the phone with you, okay? If I was your customer and you called me and you already had an attitude with me prior to even the phone, like I don't know what happened on the phone call before that. I don't know anything. I'm just trying to get diminished value of the car. I've had the car less than 30 days and it's been hit. 30 days, that's it. And she told me, diminished value doesn't exist and that I'm her customer and that State Farm's policy is that they don't pay out diminished value claims. Okay, so I asked for a copy of this policy. I work in the business of policies. I know that if you have a policy, it's written down somewhere. And she told me that policies only go out to her customers. Well, I'm your customer. Like, you just told me I was your customer, and now you're telling me policies only go out to her customers. She had to backtrack very quickly and say, no, our insureds. So, okay, awesome. We basically went round and around. She told me I needed more information. I didn't have a leg to stand on with her. I said, okay, I'll get more info. She said that she'll send me something in the mail to officially deny it. This is that document right here. And it's basically dated August the 1st, and it says, Dear Edward Cook, thank you for the opportunity to request for your diminished value. On August 1st, we discussed your request for compensation due to a diminished value claim. As discussed, diminished value is the alleged difference between vehicle's value before an accident and its value after proper repairs are completed. As explained, we believe that the documentation which you provided to date does not substantiate the value of your vehicle that has been reduced to the damage sustained from auto accidents. The repairs were paid for according to professional industry professions. There's no evidence repair work was below industry standards. Please contact Dwayne's Auto Body, blah, 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 blah. Basically, absent any additional documentation for our review, we must deny your diminished value claim. And when I got this letter from Monique Walker, there she is right there, I was upset. You know, how dare you tell me that my car is not worth less because it's been in an accident? Like, are you kidding me? And I'm not looking for a bunch of money. I'm just looking for the value difference. If you could look yourself in the eye and say, hey, this is due to, I'll spend the exact same money on the car with an accident that I won't, fine. But you can't do it. So I went online and I started looking up lawyers and people that handle diminished value. And effectively, what I got from the phone call was she wanted me to prove what the car was worth at the time of accident and the time directly involving the accident. Okay. You know who can do that? An appraiser. A third-party appraiser. So I went to a website, dvcheckonline.com. It's Diminished Value Check Online. Talked to a guy there, and his name's Jim. He's a good guy, and he basically told me I have some good things going for me and some bad things going for me. He told me the good thing is that your car's near brand new. It is has less than 2,500 miles on it at the date of the loss. It is brand new. Then he told me the problem that I have is it's State Farm. He said that State Farm declines everything. That's just what they do. They decline everything. And the fact that they decline everything, I'm going to have a tough case. But he said that he can provide me with court-backed documentation showing that my car was worth less after the accident. So I paid $250 for Jim to basically appraise my vehicle. He took comps, he took all the information of the car, where it was purchased, value, everything of the car, and he basically appraised it. He put it into an 8-page document from him that has all the supporting documentation from NADA, from Black Book, plus his professional appraising, which is 19 years experience. He's an ASC certified mechanic. He's an iCar person. I mean, this guy's got a list of credentials like this long about being an appraiser. And he effectively told me, he said, look, your car lost about $2,500 of diminished value. The car's worth about 30 grand. That's his ACV estimate. And it's about $2,500. So this interesting thing is happening. I've now had 3 different parties tell me it's right around 8 to 10%. I got everything from $2,500 to $3,600, 10% of whatever the cash value of the car is. I just didn't know what the cash value was. Well, now I know what cash value is. It's about 30 grand. So I sent over, it was really great. He put together this thing for me. He sent me over a demand letter, and this was all done on August 2nd. It was one day after I received the first letter from Monique Walker telling me basically that my claim was denied. Now, it was weird because when I first sent this over, I got a call the next day, like 7 o'clock in the morning, boom, from Monique. And that's when I talked to her for like an hour. And I was like, I got all the time in the world to discuss this with you. I worked in a call center. I know what call time's like. It's a big issue. Well, from the 2nd to the 4th, Friday of last week, I hadn't heard anything. So I called Monique and I was like, hey, Monique, happy Friday. This is Eddie Cook. I am just trying to follow up to see if you've got my documentation regarding my diminished value claim. And Monique told me, no, I haven't gotten your claim regarding diminished value. I'm sorry. And I updated my address. This was on Friday. I've updated my address with her because I noticed my address was wrong. And I said, hey, I haven't gotten anything. Have you received my email that I sent you? That was the question. Have you received my email? And remember, this is on August 4th. I sent the email on the 2nd. It's now 2 days later. She told me, no, Mr. Cook, I've not received your email yet. Sometimes it takes 48 hours. Hopefully, I'll get it next week. So that brings me to today. So today, I get this. I get another letter in the mail. But look at the date. August the 3rd. Now, here's the thing. Remember, I called her on the 4th, and she said that she hadn't gotten anything. But this was mailed out on the 3rd. Interesting. If she hadn't gotten anything, how did this get mailed out? Interesting, right? So, this is in response, I would assume, to the documentation I sent her from Jim at diminishedvaluecheck.com. And she said, Dear Edward Cook, thank you for the opportunity to review the request for diminished vehicle or value to your vehicle. An appraisal must show fair market value of your vehicle immediately prior to the loss, noting vehicle-specific information to support those values, and after proper repairs. Based on our review of documentation you submitted, you did not prove your diminished value because, this is important here, the appraisal failed to prove fair market value prior to the loss. The appraisal failed to prove fair market value after the loss. So remember what they wanted here. They wanted, at time of accident, what was the car worth, and then immediately following, what was the vehicle worth. And then it goes on to say the appraisal you provided was a computer-generated and failed to take into account an individual evaluation of age, mileage, complete condition of the vehicle, as well as an extent of the nature of the repairs. Therefore, when we're unable to agree, you sustained a diminution of value of your 2017 Ford Fusion and failed to meet the burden of proof. And then once again, the repairs were paid for, blah, 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 blah. It's interesting because the documentation I sent over was from a professional appraiser with 19 years experience. And here, State Farm's telling me, no, it's computer generated. Like, it's not legit. So, here it is. What's today? The 8th? So this was mailed 5 days ago. And I've just sent this back over to Jim at diminishedvaluecheck.com, and hopefully Jim can come up with something that is a little bit more what they're looking for. Because up until this moment, State Farm could never tell me exactly what they want. But now, I have an idea about exactly what they want, right here. So, with this information, hopefully it will help someone else. It may help you, even, as far as what's going on. Now, one more thing I want to bring up, and it's just my OCD-ness. This is from Monique Walker, remember, my claims specialist. This is the signature on the back of the document that I received on the 1st. Okay? Monique Walker, claims specialist. This is the signature of the person of Monique Walker that I received on the 7th. Those are different signatures. No way is that the same person. Unless Monique had a stroke right here and lost control of her arm. But that is a real signature. This looks like my toddler did it. So part of my beef with this is that you're telling me that my appraiser doesn't hold any weight. You're telling me that my claim's wrong and all of this. And my argument to it is someone from State Farm prior to Monique told me that diminution of value is real. And all Monique told me is, well, I'm going to talk with her supervisor about that. That's it. Now I'm getting these letters with different signatures on them from people. It's stressful, you know? You know, if you or anybody you know has done a diminution of value claim, let me know. Post up in the comments below if you have questions on it. I'm going to keep up the fight. And the bottom line is that I believe State Farm owes me value for loss of my car. Or the value of the loss of the car, period. I'm going to go ahead and keep up with these videos. and I'll see you guys all later.